Welcome back to another week on Beam City Sports. This is 96.5 FM. Your host, Tyler Texera, here again with Luke Mitchell. And how's the week been for you, Luke?
Very good. Very good week. What up, Sacramento? Glad to be back in the studio. Glad to be talking to you all again. Very excited about this week. Excited about all these segments that we got. Something new, some new sports that we're talking about. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, let's jump right into it. And, our topics for today's show, our main topic is going to be ranking the top 10 shooting guards in the NBA going into next season. Also, we will be discussing the nationally televised games for the NBA, some signings that we've seen over the last few weeks, and then we'll get into some baseball, and we'll close it out with some football for our very first time. We'll be talking some NFL football on this show.
Yeah. Excited about that. Excited about fantasy, too.
Yep.
Fantasy football, baby.
Yeah, we're getting into the football season coming in just a few weeks. A lot of talk about that. But we will jump right into our main segment of today, which will be ranking the top 10 shooting guards in the NBA for each of us personally. And, I'm going to start with my number 10. Let's just jump right into it. My number 10 is going to be one of my favorite guys. Tyler Hero is my number 10.
I like that. Little, just kind of scrappy little white dude at the outside. Yeah, he gets it done. He's a dog. Yeah, he has a nice culture out there for sure in Miami. A lot of people love him for sure.
Yeah, he's a certified bucket for sure, and he really showed me a lot in this playoffs that they had actually as well. After being hurt the year before when they made that magical run to the finals as an 8th seed, he was hurt the whole time. So a lot of people were kind of off on Tyler Hero after that, but this year he had a very good year and showed in the playoffs the one game they won against the reigning champions, the Boston Celtics, and he really lit it up in that game 2 where they won. But
he's had a lot of clutch moments over there for sure.
Yeah.
And learning from Jimmy Butler over there is a big help for his whole future. There's questions on Jimmy returning, if maybe not, but having him be that mentor with him over there in Miami, that's a big help for him for sure.
Yeah, you definitely can tell Tyler Hero looks up to Jimmy Butler over there in Miami, and eventually I do think he will take the reins of this team with Bam Adebayo, but we'll see when the future comes.
Yeah, for sure.
But who's your number 10?
I got KCP at number 10.
Whoa, you have KCP at number 10. That is definitely over a lot of guys that probably have better counting stats.
Yes, but I feel like with how much he affected the culture of the Nuggets, there was a lot of people that were just like, whoa, he left Denver. Who's gonna kind of take that role? Everybody was just like, is Denver gonna return back to their dominant performance that they had in the previous years? With that kind of wave in the NBA, I think he kind of deserves that recognition for kind of being that top guard. Kind of making that question one of the top franchises. I don't know. It kind of just, I feel like he affects a team in a big way all the time. So I think him leaving makes him that kind of that step up there.
Yeah, I do like that pick. He wasn't on my list, but I do love that pick just as a winning standpoint. Denver is really not going to be the same team without him. You said, there's a lot of question marks over there after he left. But he's really just been a winner in his whole time in the NBA, winning that championship with the Lakers in 2020, then helping Denver win, and just being a huge part to both those teams.
He knows how to win with the team. He knows how to change the culture for sure. So I think he'll definitely help out in Orlando, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Orlando, I expect them to have a really big year coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Very young team. He's kind of the vet over there now. And he's just a really steady player. He's so consistent. He always guards the other team's best guard.
Exactly.
And he shoots 40% from 3 every year.
Yeah, like you said, he doesn't put stats up a lot, but he really affects the defensive side a lot of guards don't really do.
Yeah, that is very true. A lot of my guys on my top 10 are not known as defenders. So, that's kind of going back to your list last week with the point guards of having Drew Holiday on there. So you really value the defense and the winning aspect, which I can definitely appreciate.
Oh, yeah. That old school style of basketball.
Yeah. But there are a lot of guys on here that I definitely had to put over him, in my opinion. But number 9, I'm going to jump right into it, is Sacramento King. Should have won 6th Man of the Year last year. It's Malik Monk. He is my number 9 shooting guard.
No, I completely agree. I might have him a little bit higher on my list, but Yeah, definitely sixth man of the year for sure. If he didn't get hurt, then I feel like he probably would have locked it up. But with him playing in Sacramento, like they won't really get. I mean, they won't get that recognition. NBA doesn't really like Sacramento.
Yeah,
we know this for sure.
Definitely. You know, he definitely had better counting stats than Naz Reid last year, who was the sixth man of the year. But Minnesota was just one of the best teams in the league record-wise, and they also made a playoff push. And, you know, Naz Reid was definitely a big part of that. I love Naz Reid's game, but I still am very mad Malik didn't win that.
Yeah.
I think this year Malik is going to come with even more of a chip on his shoulder, and I think he's really going to prove. There actually was a survey done by, you know, all the GMs in the league, and they're voting on who they predict is going to win certain awards and who's going to be the number one seed and all that stuff. And Malik Monk got about 90% of the votes for them favored to win sixth man next year. So, hopefully that can show some people respecting him finally.
That'll be if Malik wants to stay as sixth man.
That is
there
true.
are questions on him starting. So, Keon, I love Keon starting. So we'll see if that kind of starts. Or if Keon will be, if he starts, or if Malik will be on the court. So that'll be a question right until game night, pretty much.
Yeah, honestly, you're definitely right, because we've had this discussion multiple times already on this show. Who should start at the 2 for the Kings? You know, Malik is definitely the best guy, but just the fit-wise for that starting lineup, you might need more defense.
Exactly.
And Kevin Huerter's kind of been the starting 2 when he's healthy the past 2 years. So it'll be interesting to see what Mike Brown does in that situation.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
But I definitely had to put Malik on this list. You know, I'd put him over some guys that didn't make it for me that were really tough. You know, these guys that didn't make my list, they didn't make it over Malik for me, even though they averaged more points per game, and you know, they weren't on the best teams, so I did take into account the winning aspect as well. But Malik, if he gets more opportunity, I think Malik can really, you know, not be an all-star, but be close to an all-star player. Last year off the bench, he averaged 15 and almost 6 assists, which his playmaking was so big for the Kings.
His passes, they hyped me up all the time. He had something. He added a flashiness to the court that we needed for sure.
And you know, that pick and roll he has with Sabonis is just. I think that's one of our best moves on the offensive end.
Yeah,
I think he plays better with Sabonis than I would even say De'Aaron does. De'Aaron doesn't find Sabonis as well as Malik on those pick and rolls, pick and pops, and stuff like that. But you know, in the playoffs, Malik is one of the best scorers, and we saw that in the Game 7 series against the Warriors a few years back. His stats in that series were almost 20 points a game off the bench, 6 rebounds, and almost 4 assists. So, yeah, he really put on in the playoffs, especially.
Yeah, kind of reminds you of Bobby Jackson back in the day.
That's a good one. Yeah. Well, who's your number 9?
Number 9 is your number 10. I got Tyler Hero.
I like it.
I mean, pretty much everything you said about him previously.
Yeah.
I just, with him just growing up there in Miami, I feel like him and Bam are going to bring Miami back to its former glory from a little while ago. So that's just exciting for sure.
Yeah, you know, the only question marks for Tyler Hero are really on the defensive end. And, you know, Miami is really a defensive culture, so they kind of just let him run the show offensively, and he's really their only guy that can go get a bucket. Yeah. They did pick up Terry Rozier, who also can do that, but he really struggled when he joined the Miami Heat.
Yeah, I'm questionable about Terry. I mean, he used to be Scary Terry, but we'll see if he could come back and bring that back out.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see what Miami can do this year. You know, they didn't make any huge pickups, so Tyler Hero definitely will have to take another jump.
Yeah, he'll have to. Yeah, for sure. He'll have to kind of. I mean, if Jimmy doesn't return, I mean that's definitely going to have to happen. But, yeah. You know, Tyler Hero's also been in a lot of trade rumors the past few years for some big names. Do they keep
Donovan
him?
Mitchell, Kevin Durant were in for Tyler Hero, and no one really wanted Tyler Hero. So
yeah, I mean, nobody. I feel like everybody in the league kind of has that role kind of filled up. Almost,
that's a good point.
Or they're kind of focused on a different kind of aspect of basketball. They're not trying to look for that 2-guard position to lead a team.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, and also you can't really trust a guy who he has the ball in his hands pretty much every possession for Miami, and you know he has good counting stats like 20 points a game, but he's not the most efficient. He is a good catch and shoot player, so that's a big part. But you know, like you said, leading a team, some teams might go in a different direction.
Definitely. Yeah.
But he's still one of my favorite players, and like just the swagger that he plays with out there. I love his game, honestly. Yeah.
No, yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll jump into my number 8, which was a very tough pick for me. It is the young guard, Jalen Green.
Oh, wow.
Who had an interesting year last year.
Dang, I was not expecting him to be on the list.
Yeah, he averaged almost 20 a game as well last year. I had to put him over Malik, even though I think Malik has some aspects of his game that, are better, like the playmaking. But Jalen Green, when the second half of the year started, also Jalen Green played all 82 games last year, which I definitely take into account.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, for a young guard, you probably should be doing that.
Yeah.
But that's still really impressive.
It is. Yeah. It is. But the first half of the year last year for Jalen Green was really a struggle, and his shooting splits, he was shooting about 30% from 3, which is not what you want to see.
Yeah.
Taking a lot of tough shots. And then the Rockets really put the ball in Alperen Sengun's hands, and then they started winning a little
bit more.
But then second half of the year comes, Sengun gets hurt, and Jalen Green gets the keys back to the offense. Yep. And Houston goes 11-0 when Sengun was hurt. Jalen Green was averaging 30 points a game in that 11-game stretch. And I don't know if it was just a hot stretch for him, because he was hitting, I think he hit about 4 turnaround threes in that stretch, like where he turned around before the ball even went in, and they all went in.
I guess it's just confidence, man.
It is confidence. Yeah,
and,
he's definitely a confident player, and he's so athletic. He's
got a lot of pop. For sure.
Yeah, for sure. So that's why I have him ranked number 8, just because that second half of the year, I do believe in his game, and I think next year, him and Sengun might be able to click a little more when they're both on the floor together. And I think Jalen Green is going to have a very good year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So for my number 8, number 8 right now.
Yep, that was my number 8.
I got Desmond Bane at number 8.
Yeah.
I love the way he plays. He's a big, kind of not dirty player, but he gets down and dirty.
He's tough.
He's tough.
He's tough.
And his arms are massive.
Yeah.
Dude,
and
he
can
scary,
shoot.
And he can shoot too. But with Ja Morant out last year and him playing a lot, Memphis still had a 51-31 record, which is amazing. And then Ja Morant coming back next year.
Yeah.
Memphis is going to be, I feel like Memphis has a real chance at contending for a title.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm kind of upset that they're considered in the West, because I don't know if, I don't know.
It's going to be tough to beat them for sure.
Yeah.
Desmond Bane, he averaged almost 24 a game last year on 46 from the field and almost 40% from 3. So that is insane stats.
Insane stats.
Yeah.
And then adding Ja to the lineup, there's not going to be as much defensive pressure on him.
Yeah.
It's going to be a crazy combo on the court right there.
Yeah, he was really the number 1 option for them last year when he was healthy, and he shined still. I thought he was going to take a dip in his shooting splits, with, like you said, with Ja being out and all that.
Yeah.
But he really didn't, and I had to put him as my number 7. So it's good that you had him right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always kind of been a hater on Desmond Bane just because of being on Memphis, and I just want the Kings to be better than Memphis, and he's just so good. I can't overlook him.
I have so much respect for that team and him individually. He's definitely a player that I'm just like, hey, maybe we get him in the future.
Yeah. He's not really your typical shooting guard, like you said. Like, he has those huge arms, and his arms are like T-Rex size. Like, they're so short.
They're pretty short.
Yeah, he has no wingspan.
But he has a quick release on the shot. So.
Very, very quick release, and one of the best shooters in the league right now. So had to put him on this list.
Maybe see him in the 3-point contest next year. Who knows?
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised there.
Yeah.
So, we can jump into your number 7 then.
I got Mikal Bridges at number 7.
Mikal Bridges, number 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love him in Brooklyn for sure. He wasn't really he was the team leader for sure. He was the captain of the team, I guess, per se.
Yeah.
But he didn't really have they didn't look at him as a franchise player that they were going to have.
Of course.
But him going to New York, I feel like he's going to mold really well with the whole team that he had. I mean, they already had played together for years, but I'm super excited. Just the way he plays, he's super confident with just every shot he puts up, and super crafty down low. Anything he goes down low, he can kind of get a foul shot or something up super quick.
Yeah, he's one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA
that
still.
Too. Yeah.
Also, like you said, his role in Brooklyn was very different from his initial role going into the NBA when he got drafted by the Phoenix Suns, and they made the NBA Finals with him being kind of that 3-and-D type
Yeah.
player who really impacted the game like so well, and that's why the Brooklyn Nets were so high on him. They traded Kevin Durant for him. But we really saw in Brooklyn that he could score the ball, but he shouldn't be a number one option.
No.
And I'm very happy that he went to the Knicks because he's not going to be even a number 2 or number 3 option, really. He's going to go back to his role like he had in Phoenix of, guarding the best guy.
He'll quietly average almost 20 points a game.
Yeah.
Like, just come off the bench and be almost not a number 1 scorer, but, close to it on the team.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to have a good year, and the Knicks are really scary, like we've talked about before. But yeah, I think his role, like I said, in New York is going to play more to his strengths, and I think he's going to have a very good year. And I had him as my number 6. So
Dang, this is
so we're like one behind on each.
Kind of one behind.
So I'm curious to see who your number 6 will be because I think it might be someone who I know.
I feel like it. Yeah, it's going to be Derek White.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
I still haven't heard one name that I'm kind of expecting.
Are you? Is yours? Oh my God. No, yeah, Derek White. I just he's again. A late pickup for the Olympic team, so that kind of shows something. Like they expected something to come out of him, and he showed up and filled the role for that team, and that translates to the NBA too. Like with Boston, like you didn't expect a lot out of him just because there's Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum out there kind of leading the team, but then Derek White comes in and averages like 16, 17 points with them, and then also on the defensive side again, he comes up every time, like guards the best shooters, best offensive scorers in the league when they played them. Yeah. So that's why I got him right there.
I can definitely agree with that, as he was my number 5, so he was your number 6. He's my number 5, so we can take some time on him. I think he is known widely now as the best role player in the NBA. Yeah. Him and Drew Holiday really have that lockdown as like the best role players, and we saw that on USA. That's really why.
Give respect to Lou Will. I feel like Lou
Will still a bucket.
I think Lou,
But yeah, Derek White on the defensive end, like you said, is just a monster. He might be the best perimeter defender along with Drew Holiday.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what makes them such good role players, because when you're looking for a role player on a good team, you really want them to just be very good defensively and be able to hit an open shot. Yeah. And that's something that both those guys do, Derek White especially. Definitely a better shooter than Drew Holiday, so I think he's a little better at this point. But yeah, Derek White on Team USA, like we saw, made an impact, and he didn't really shoot the ball ever. It seemed like he just made the right pass and played very good defense.
The plus minus was probably outrageous for him when he was on the court. So
for sure.
That's what you really look for. Like if you're not scoring a lot, you're just like, how am I affecting the court? Like if someone else is scoring, is it plus minus? Is my plus minus higher? Like, I don't know. That's the hidden points that a lot of people don't look at.
Mm-hmm. He definitely impacts winning like so much. And we really saw that when the Celtics initially picked him up back in 2022. That was about midway through the season when, it was a crazy year for the Celtics that year. They were, in 2022, they were having a very bad beginning of the year. And then they traded for Derek White, and then they went on a crazy run, they made the finals. They lost to the Warriors in 6, but Derek White was a huge part of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and last year even heard JJ Redick pushing for him to be an all-star, even though, like you said, he only averaged like 16 a game. But just his impact on winning.
His impact it's different than a lot of guards that they have.
Oh,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. And the Celtics just being one of those best teams. So I think he could get all-star buzz again.
Probably.
Even without the counting
fan
stats.
voting. I don't like fan voting at all.
It doesn't impact it too much just because they only can vote on the starting lineup.
Starters, but then at the same time,
it's like that's how you get Wiggins in the starting lineup a few years ago.
Exactly. What? How does it?
That was pretty wild. So yeah, that was my number 5, and I'm curious to see. So you're number 5.
I got Malik Monk at number 5.
Monk, number 5.
Some people might call it bias, but he was supposed to be 6th man of the year, and I feel like that puts you up to be a top 5 guard in the league at least. Those awards that you won at the end of the year, that just shows the whole year. He almost played every single game, and then he just got hurt like right at the end. Luka's big butt.
Yeah, I was actually at that game when he got hurt.
I didn't
think it was that bad. He didn't look too hurt when he got up initially, but he never came back the rest of the year. So that was really sad to see.
But No, Malik, the way he affects the team, coming off the bench, especially leading the bench, that just it woke him up. Just when De'Aaron and DeMontis, like, we always kept one of them on the court, but then there were times where we had to sit both of them, and Malik kept that electricity going, kept the power going, and always came up with a big moment when we were starting to like kind of fade. Always he gets a lot of steals too, super quick, matches up with De'Aaron. So having both of them on the fast break, always excited to see him run up and down the court.
Oh, for sure. He's one of the most electric guys in the fast break. Like you said, like he probably had the most poster dunks in the NBA last year.
Pretty much was that opening night that he dunked on?
First night he dunked on Chris Dunn, and then he dunked. I was at one of the games against Phoenix where he dunked on Drew Eubanks, and that was like the loudest I've ever heard Golden won.
Oh yeah,
like the pop in the arena when he dunked that, it was like something I've never heard.
Gives me chills every time.
Yeah, so we're really hyped to have the season back, seeing Malik and De'Aaron run that backcourt out there. Even if Malik doesn't start, I still think he can be considered one of the best two guards in the league.
Yeah,
because it doesn't really matter who starts the game. It really matters who finishes the game, and Malik is going to be out there when it matters
Exactly.
most. He is. He's also one of the most clutch players in the league. I know you were at that Warriors game when he hit that.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful turnaround shot.
Yeah. Talk about that, when Malik hit that off the glass, just like falling away. Like, what was your reaction?
I hated the shot at first.
Yeah.
I was just like, why did he? There were two other. I'm pretty sure I think De'Aaron was like almost wide open.
Yeah.
And then DeMontis also kind of had a step. There was plenty of time on the clock, too. So DeMontis kind of had a step. He was probably able to dribble in with it if he kicked it out. But turned around, kind of like a laser shot off
like
the back.
One leg.
Yeah, it was falling away. So I hated the shot, but went in. I was there with my boy Duncan and Xander, and no, that was beautiful. Lost my voice for sure.
Oh yeah, I bet.
And then it being against the Warriors too, that just put the cherry on top. Just because that new rival. I mean, kind of new rivalry.
I would say
for sure.
It's a new rival, like new. Really intense rivalry.
Exactly.
They've probably always been kind of rivals over the years, but now that both teams are like pretty good.
I mean, it started out really with, now that DeMontis is on the team, I feel like it really just ramped up when Draymond kind of
stepped on it.
Now that's just gonna evolve into a classic rivalry, just like kind of a battle of the Bay, battle of like the Valley almost.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. But Malik, if I remember correctly, in that game, he took the game into his own hands in the end. He hit a 3 right before that game winner. So he's just one of the most clutch players in the league as well, and I don't think he gets credit for that.
Yeah, we have like almost the top 3 clutch players in the league.
Yeah,
so,
might be a little biased, but I definitely agree. But all 3 of those guys are insanely clutch.
Oh yeah.
You definitely want the ball in their hands when the game matters most.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't have Malik that high. I had him number 9, but
I can call it bias, but I don't call it.
Yeah, So you had him above Derek White?
Yes.
Yeah?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Malik could have a big year coming up, and that could really propel him in these rankings.
Definitely.
As, like, if he gets those points per game up from 15, which we know he can. If he gets more, opportunity, maybe starts some games. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah. We'll jump into the number 4 right before our break. My number 4 is Kyrie Irving.
Okay. Yeah,
Who's your number 4?
At number 4, I got Donovan Mitchell. My brother from another mother.
All right.
Yeah.
So that means you got Kyrie over Donovan Mitchell, I'm guessing.
Yes, I do.
So Donovan Mitchell was almost in MVP talks last year.
Yeah.
Really been leading teams since he's been in the NBA.
This is one of the ones where I was kind of back and forth.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen him in a position. I haven't seen him in a position to kind of take the team to a next step. He is a player that you want to be like your franchise player for sure. Like having the Cavs, like he is in trade talks kind of.
He is
trying to see like what they want to do. I wouldn't mind him. I mean, in Cleveland, he's looking good. Like he's doing great over there, but I just don't see him fitting. Like he needs another star for sure to kind of like take a team like over the top for sure. Yeah,
I definitely agree. He definitely can't do it alone, even though he can score 70 on any night. He's done it already. He's also improved his playmaking like dramatically over the years. But so I had Kyrie below him just because Kyrie kind of had a weird year last year. Even in the playoffs, Kyrie he was very good on the defensive end, which we haven't seen from Kyrie in his pretty much his whole career. He's always been like one of the best ISO players and one of the best bucket getters. But last year in the playoffs, he really took a backseat to Luka. And I don't know if he was struggling on the offensive end, but I mean, he kind of waited until the fourth quarter, somewhat similar to what we see De'Aaron do, to like really try and get his buckets. And it seemed like the rest of the first 3 quarters of each game when Dallas went on that crazy run that he just really made an impact defensively, which I really respected out of a vet like Kyrie at this point.
He's not as keen like as he or like on point as he was like with LeBron and Cleveland. So he has to find another way to affect the court and affect the other team. So he's definitely finding a new role for sure, which I love. That's why I kind of have him a little bit higher. I still think I wanted him on the point guard list, not gonna lie, because I would have put him up high on the point guard list, but that's also why I have him pretty up high here on the shooting guard list too.
Yeah. Before we go to our break, we got to mention Klay Thompson is not on the shooting guard list. We're going to put him on the small forward list just because he's going to play the small forward next year. But it is crazy to see don't want to say it too harshly, but the fall off of Klay Thompson. He used to be known as the best shooting guard in the league.
Definitely.
And I really hope he has a bounce back year after leaving the Warriors.
He still puts up numbers. He's still kind of consistent, but he doesn't affect the team as much. He kind of stood there a lot. Yeah. There's not a lot of movement from him.
Yeah. And he's the chucker as well. Like he's going to shoot it almost every time he touches the ball, and his defense is really falling off. But we both like Klay. I hope Klay can have a big year in Dallas next year. I think they're going to be even better than they just were. So exciting to see. But yeah, so I had Kyrie at my number 4. You had Donovan Mitchell, and we will jump back into the rest of our list when we come back from our first break. This is 96.5 FM, Beam City Sports on KUBU Radio. All right, we are back here on 96.5 FM, Beam City Sports. This again is Tyler Texera here with Luke Mitchell.
How we doing, Sacramento? What up, what up? Good to be back.
Yep, and the first half of our show, we talked about our top 10 shooting guards, and we will get into our honorable mentions that didn't make our list before we jump into our top 3, which will be very controversial in our top 3, I think. But so some honorable mentions for me.
It's going to get ugly here in the studio.
It is going to. But the honorable mentions I had that, I really wanted to put on this list, but I just couldn't do it. They definitely had the counting stats to put on there, but, just based on injuries and a bunch of other stuff, I didn't have Zach LaVine on my list.
Zach.
You didn't either?
He didn't crack my list either. No, I maybe asked me 2 years ago.
Definitely would have been on there.
But yeah, he's definitely taken a little dip recently. A lot of people don't. He was in a lot of trade discussions, but no teams really bit for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does produce, but he's a little bit kind of on the edge now.
Yeah, I think Zach LaVine is becoming very underrated in the NBA, just because of that big contract. But besides last year where he decided to get surgery halfway through the year, just it was a weird one. The Detroit Pistons were almost going to trade for him, and the Bulls were going to accept it. But then Zach LaVine didn't want to go to Detroit, so he opted into getting his surgery, so he couldn't get traded.
Yeah, I feel like wild. I feel like a few people have pulled some stuff to not go to Detroit, which
understandable, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I
Cold
wish Detroit
city, they're bad.
Yeah, I wish Detroit was a better city, but you feel bad for the team and the fans over there. Mm-hmm. Just from fans that were kind of down in the dump with them.
Oh, yeah. And I do think Zach LaVine's going to have a bounce back year if he
finds the right role.
Yeah.
I feel like he should leave the Bulls. I know they're kind of in like a complete rebuild right now. So, I hope he finds a good spot.
I hope he leaves the Bulls as well, but I think he's going to have to play his trade value back up, and I do think he will do that in the beginning of the year.
Probably.
With, pretty much the ball going to be in his hands most of the time as the number one guy.
Yeah.
Another guy didn't make our list, CJ McCollum.
CJ was right there. I actually took him off the list right before the show.
Wow.
Yeah, he was at my number 9 spot. But I like CJ. I've always loved him when he was up in Portland with Dame. That duo was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's just right now with him in New Orleans, it's not really the right fit, I feel like. I know they're kind of trying to find their new identity right now.
Yeah.
But he just slipped off my list a little bit.
Yeah, CJ, he did have a solid year last year on good splits. He averaged 20 a game, but I just think the defensive end is something that he needs that he can't
Definitely.
really do anything about just because he's such a smaller guard.
Yeah.
And that's always been the problem when he was in
It's also
Portland as
not.
well.
He's also not super quick. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
But he can handle the ball, and he's one of the best ISO players still in the league.
definitely.
Getting to that mid range, he's a great shooter.
Oh,
He
yeah.
killed the Kings a lot last year as well.
A lot of big moments
Yeah.
that he just kind of put a dagger in us at the end of the
Yeah,
game.
pretty much everyone on that Pelicans team killed the Kings last
Every
year.
time. The
Yeah.
Pelicans, and then also we also kind of had trouble with the Timberwolves a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of expected with their team.
Yeah. Yeah, but those are some guys that didn't make it. Also, like Herb Jones,
Also
Austin
want to shout out
Reeves.
Dante DiVincenzo.
Yeah, he had a
Love
great
Dante.
year.
Yeah.
He was fourth or third in the league last year in 3-point makes. So
Mm-hmm.
he's really been shooting very well ever since he got to Golden State and learned from
Oh, yeah.
Steph. So I think he's going to have another good year, but he is going to have to come off the bench for the Knicks this
For
year.
sure. For sure.
But I still think he's going to have a big impact.
Also, I want to shout out Colin Sexton, one of
Yeah.
my favorite 2K players, like
Yeah.
from a few years ago. Always used him when I don't know, doing
Yeah.
like a pickup, like whenever we were building teams.
Mhm.
Colin Sexton was always great to come off the bench or just
Yeah.
use him as a shooting guard.
He's definitely became underrated as well.
For sure.
He's still a very good defender, and he can score with the best of them.
He scores for
But
sure.
yeah, I think he's just been a little underrated. Maybe if he joins a better team than Utah,
Definitely.
he'll get some more attention.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's jump into our top three. My number 3 was Donovan Mitchell. That was your number 4. So your number 3 must be
I got Devin Booker at
Oh.
number 3.
okay. So
You don't like this one.
no, I'm not a fan of having Devin Booker number 3. I think he arguably should be number 1. But it is tough with Anthony Edwards. I know we probably both have Ant number 1. But
Yeah, I have. I mean, not stupid reasons, but I just don't like his playing style. Really,
yeah,
just watching him on the court with KD. Really, I mean, I don't. People say they match up. I don't really think they match up. I don't know.
yeah. Obviously, they don't very well. After last year, they had a very disappointing
Super
year.
struggle year.
Yeah, they got swept in the first round by Minnesota.
Yeah.
But D-Book has always been one of my favorite players ever since he's came in the league. He's one of the best scorers. And
Yeah,
he
for
showed
sure.
in this Olympic run that he's also one of the best defenders. And when he wants to, he can really sit in that chair and make impact, not just on the offensive end.
Definitely.
Also, another thing I saw from him on the USA team was his unselfishness, on the offensive end. He could have got a bucket like a lot of the times that he normally would have in Phoenix, but he opted to swing it to Steph, swing it to, LeBron or something like that.
Yeah.
And he played his role very well. I do think in Phoenix, though, he's going to have a big year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not denying his greatness because he is. I mean, arguably, probably. I have him top 3, so
Yeah.
he is one of the best shooting guards in the league.
Mm-hmm.
But and then he's also. I mean, he took my boo from me. He took Kendall Jenner, man.
Not anymore.
Not
but-
anymore, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I had a chance, and he kind of swept her up.
Yeah, her loss.
Her loss.
But back to D-Book, he's one of the best shooters in the league still as
Yeah.
well. He has
Yeah.
probably the prettiest jump shot outside
It's
of Steph.
super smooth.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably have reasons to move him up to number 2, but just
Yeah, a lot of people are like you though. They do hate on D-Book just because of
not a hater.
but they're a little
Yeah.
low on him just because of his complaining and all the antics
does
that he
complain a
has.
lot. Yeah.
But I personally love it. I think he's a winner. I think he's a dog. He was the best player on that Suns team when they made the finals a few years back.
That is true. Yeah.
And I think he should be. If Anthony Edwards didn't have that big of a year, I think he would normally be number 1. Before last year, I think I would have him number 1.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
had to
makes
put him
sense.
number 2 for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Number 2, I got Kyrie.
Yeah,
I mean, I just love Kyrie. If he was on our point guard list, I would have him in the top 5 point guard, probably top 4.
yeah,
I always love the way he plays, like his quickness, his smoothness. Ever since he played with Kobe too, like he's always been great and always has a great basketball IQ. Knows where everybody is on the court for sure.
yeah,
But I mean, I do still think he's more of a point guard. I know that. I mean, Luka kind of takes that role, but the way he plays, now he's a new player for sure. After the past few years, he definitely developed into a new player.
yeah. He's
But,
definitely evolving as
yeah.
a player.
Yeah.
Getting older.
But I still think he's one of the top players in the league, not only a top shooting guard in the league.
Yeah. I am a little lower on Kyrie than you are, even though he's probably the most skilled player in the league right now. Just with we saw last year with his left hand floater for the win.
Yeah.
At the buzzer, that was just.
He knows just how to bounce it off the backboard.
Yeah.
Knows where it's gonna go. It's like that video of Dennis Rodman explaining a rebound.
Yeah.
And he's just like goes over here, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Bang.
He just knows.
He
has a knack for everything on the basketball
His
court.
basketball IQ is one of the highest in the league right now, for sure.
Yeah, but I still think it's not even a question. Devin Booker at this point is better than Kyrie, but I'm not hating on your list. But so number one, we'll finish it off. We both have Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards,
well deserved.
I think he's going to be the new face of the league for sure.
Yeah. And
fighting with Wembanyama for sure. But I think he's more exciting for sure than Wemby. Obviously, Wemby's going to be kind of dominating a lot, but I think his play style is just kind of everybody likes the exciting now in NBA. I was talking to someone the other day, and they're just like, "It's a new era of basketball. It's everybody's too young. Everybody's your age." And I was like, "Oh, damn, that hurts."
I know, it does. But
I just pour beer, and now you're attacking.
It is true though. But he's like you said, going to be the face of the league coming up. A lot of the older players in the league do recognize that now, and they just love his personality and his competitiveness.
Yeah,
he doesn't take a backseat to anyone. We saw that this summer with the USA. Being one of the leading scorers, even coming off the bench. Being a little brother to Katie.
Yeah.
And I think he definitely learned a lot from this USA team.
Oh yeah.
He spoke on his. They had a podcast of him and KD with Jalen Rose the other day, and he spoke on how. When USA was down, he was on the bench, but he said he really noticed that, when he's in Minnesota and they're down 10, say, he always tries to play hero ball, takes it into his own hands, starts ISOing, doesn't move the ball. But he said he noticed on this Team USA that when they were down, they really started moving the ball even more. And they started driving and kicking and swinging to the open guy.
They knows everybody's ability to kind of make something happen.
Yeah, so I think Ant really learned a lot this summer, and I think it's going to be scary to see what he's going to do next year.
Also an exciting 2028 Olympics in LA.
Yeah.
Going to find a way to get down there for sure.
Oh, yeah. He'll definitely be on that team too. But yeah, it'll be fun to see that. Ant, he could be in MVP talks coming up this year. I would not be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. I see him top 3 probably up there, especially if Minnesota is going to be in the same position they were last year, up on the top of the the top of the standings. I think he has a really good shot at winning MVP.
Yeah, I think he's in this day and age the perfect basketball player, just with his his size, his defensive ability, his athleticism, the way he can shoot it. There's just not anything. There's nothing he can't do.
Who was the last shooting guard to win MVP?
Maybe Kobe or D Wade.
Was James Harden considered a shooting guard?
That's a good one. James Harden probably.
But was he a point guard on
he was
Houston
averaging 10 assists, so
Yeah.
He had the ball the whole time.
So a little tough to say.
Yeah. But yeah,
that'd be crazy if it was since Kobe or D Wade.
He kind of plays like both of them too.
Exactly.
So, yeah. But let's go over our list real quick. I'll start with mine from the bottom. My number 10 was Tyler Hero. Number 9, Malik Monk. Number 8 was Jalen Green. 7, Desmond Bane. 6, Mikal Bridges. 5, Derek White. 4, Kyrie. 3, Donovan Mitchell. 2, Devin Booker. And number 1 was Anthony Edwards.
And then I got a KCP at number 10, Tyler Hero number 9, 8, Desmond Bane, 7, Mikal Bridges, 6, Derek White, 5, Malik Monk, 4, Donovan Mitchell, 3, Devin Booker, 2, Kyrie, 1, and Anthony Edwards.
All right, and
that's pretty. We pretty much had the same people on the list except I had KCP and Jalen Green.
Yeah. That is cool to see that we both had similar. So we will jump into our next topic, which is the NBA nationally televised schedule. We'll be very quick on this. It just got released that the number of nationally televised games for each team is out, and we put them in tiers. So the teams with 31 through 40 games are the Lakers, the Warriors, the Celtics, and the Knicks.
Kind of expected.
Expected. The top teams, the ones in the big markets, of course, and the reigning champs. Then we got 26 through 30 games on national TV, which are the Dallas Mavericks, Phoenix Suns, Denver Nuggets, Milwaukee Bucks, and the 76ers.
Also expect all playoff teams, all contenders.
All definitely contenders and very exciting teams as well. With
got the stars on their teams.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The big names. Then we have the 21 through the 25 games, which is the T-Wolves, the Thunder, Clippers, and the Spurs up there. Very
Spurs,
high.
they're definitely pushing that Wemby agenda.
For
they
sure.
want that up there.
And I don't like them having the Clippers this high.
The Clippers, that high. I mean, I guess Kawhi's still on the team.
Who knows when he's going to play?
It's an LA team that has a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
They have the new arena. And then the owner, Steve Ballmer, like he just has so much money that like any attention for any LA team is just going to bring the NBA more money.
Yeah, that is true. So the 16 through 20 was the Grizzlies and the Cavs. Two young and up and coming teams. Those will be exciting to see.
That's kind of interesting right there.
Yeah. Then 11 through 15, we got the Pacers, the Miami Heat, New Orleans Pelicans, the Kings, and the Houston Rockets. So the Kings
I don't know why the Rockets are that high.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's a new young team, but
I definitely think those other teams like the Kings and maybe even the Pelicans should be higher than the Rockets.
Probably.
But yeah, interesting to see. Then we got some young teams that aren't getting a lot of recognition, like the Magic, the Hawks, Hornets, and the Jazz, only getting 6.
Yeah.
And then we got the teams with the least amount, which are honestly understandable. We got the Nets, the Bulls, Wizards, Pistons, Trailblazers, and the Raptors.
Pretty much all the teams that are just rebuilding and don't really have any. I mean, I guess Wizards have Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole,
but no one's really tuned
nobody's.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, some signings that we saw over the last couple days were the Dancing Bear, Gershon Yabusele signed.
I was sad to see that, man.
Yeah, a lot of NBA teams were trying to get him, but he ended up signing with the 76ers, and their team looks very put together now. I love their team.
Yeah, they're real contenders for sure.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be probably top of the East with the Celtics again and the Knicks up there.
Yeah.
I feel like that'll be the top 3 over.
It's all about being healthy for them. It really
exactly.
is. Yeah. So that's really it for the NBA. One more thing, though. The Sacramento Kings are having their workout for their last spot on the roster, and some household names are going to this workout. Isaiah Thomas,
That'd
fan
be
favorite.
Amazing if he came back to Sacramento.
Just as a vet, off the bench. That would be really cool.
I think I still have an old Isaiah Thomas shirt or jersey.
Oh, I have a jersey
somewhere
for
in
sure.
there.
Yeah.
That'd be cool to bust out again.
Some other names, Lonnie Walker, who's a very, very good NBA player.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's not on a team right now, honestly.
Same here. And then Juan Toscano Anderson, who was on the Kings maybe last year, in the beginning
couple
of the
years
year.
ago,
2 years ago in the beginning of the year.
Then he went to go play in Mexico, I think.
Yeah, so I honestly don't think he'll get that spot. I hope it's IT.
I kind of want IT. I wouldn't be mad if it was Lonnie Walker.
Yeah.
I feel like Lonnie Walker kind of has a little bit more, he's a little bit more expendable.
Yeah.
Just because he's a little bit younger than IT.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously IT is a great player still. It's just I think he won't really fit into the fast-paced style we have right now.
Yeah, and we haven't really seen him play NBA basketball in a long time now. So, who knows? But I think he could be more of a mental
player coach.
Yeah, player coach type
exactly.
thing. Yeah, that could help. So that's really it for the NBA, unless you have anything else. We'll quickly jump into some baseball before we close out and some football.
Yeah.
But some exciting baseball being played. We're going down to the stretch
Very exciting.
This MLB season. And the first place teams, in case you don't know, are the Cleveland Guardians are number 1 in the AL East.
They have that clinched, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and that is our guy, Stephen Vogt, as the manager. Stephen Vogt, first year.
I love seeing him out there just like, I remember seeing a clip of him recently getting ejected, just like fighting for his player. Just
it's crazy to see him being a manager now.
Exactly.
We definitely watched him as a player so many times.
Watched him a lot.
Yeah, but
I believe in Stephen Vogt.
Yeah, I believe in Stephen Vogt. Cleveland is a very young team, and they're so exciting.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see them.
It's cool to see them up there.
Yeah.
I miss having I had a cool ass Cleveland Indians hat.
Yeah.
I lost it though.
They got some cool jerseys.
They got some cool jerseys. Yeah.
And then in the AL East, we got the New York Yankees being the number 1.
No, we actually it changed. I'm pretty sure Baltimore's ahead of them right now, no? Unless it changed recently.
They are half a game behind.
Oh, did they? Okay, because
they have more wins, but they also have more losses. So it's kind of weird. Baltimore is number 1 in the wild card right now. But yeah, and then in the AL West, we got the Houston Astros still being number 1, even though they've lost a lot of guys, but they're still number 1 in the AL West.
Yeah, I don't like seeing that team up there.
Yeah, neither do I.
don't like seeing that name
Neither
anywhere.
do But like we said, the Orioles in the wild card race are very young and exciting. I would love to see them go on a playoff push.
Seeing Jackson Holiday stay consistent and hit some bombs. That's pretty awesome to see.
Gunnar Henderson is one of my favorites right now. Also, Kansas City Royals might have the best player in the league right now, Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see him coming up out of I saw him coming out of nowhere. Just seeing him explode, and I mean. Obviously, he didn't do too hot in the home run derby. That was cool watching that. But he's definitely going to be one of the more consistent best players in the league
for sure. Also, the Minnesota Twins are in that last wild card spot.
They're all tied right now for those wild card spots.
So it's a very close race going down to the wire.
Race.
Some September baseball will be fun to watch.
Oh yeah.
But in the NL, we got the Dodgers number one.
The A's are 16 back. They're still alive.
The A's have the 5th best record since the All-Star break.
That's pretty awesome.
So some excitement for next year.
Go undefeated for the rest of the year and prey on everybody else losing.
Some excitement for next year in SAC, so that'll be fun to see.
Oh, yeah.
But in the NL, we got the Dodgers leading the way out west.
Obviously.
And then we got the Brewers in the Central and the Phillies in the East. The Phillies are honestly my favorite to win it all this year. I love their team with Bryce Harper and all those guys.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be cool to see Philly kind of actually get a championship.
Yeah.
First time since the Eagles won it a little while ago. But, yeah, they're a big sports city, so they're dedicated fans, but they're super, annoying, first of all, though.
That is true. Philly has one of the toughest fans in every sport.
Yeah.
But in the wild card race, we see the Padres leading the way in the NL.
Yeah.
They have the number 1 best record since the All-Star break in the MLB. I know you were just in San Diego and you went to a game, right?
Yeah. They played Atlanta.
Yeah.
I decided to wear my Atlanta Braves hat, but then the Padres won like 2-0.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Luckily, I got to sit next to some Atlanta fans, so I didn't get hate on too much. But no, that was a fun time.
Yeah, the Padres are very good. The Arizona Diamondbacks as well are in the 2nd wild card right now. They are a very, very good team. And then your Atlanta Braves are holding that 3rd wild card spot.
Still a fan of them. It was pretty cool. I was watching the end of the Braves game last night. Laureano was out in right field.
I did see that.
And all 3 outs were played to him. The last 2 outs, he was making some nice sliding plays.
Yeah, sliding catches from Laureano out there to close it out. I did see that last night.
Them having 3 of our past A's players that were, some of my favorites.
Them. Yeah.
It's cool to see them kind of still blooming out there.
Yeah, it's hard not to root for them as an A's fan.
Exactly.
You want to see Olsen and Sean Murphy and those guys.
I want to see them do good.
Yeah. But the NL wildcard race, besides those top 3, the New York Mets are only 2 back. They've been playing insanely good baseball.
Kind of a tough stretch in the last 10, but maybe they'll turn around for.
But since the All-Star break and all that, they've been very, very good. And the San Francisco Giants are only 3.5 back.
That's kind of a surprise. They were struggling at the beginning of the year. Now they're kind of crawling their way back.
Yeah, I hope they can make it. Their pitching has really been leading the way. Logan Webb, Blake Snell, they've been leading the way.
That's a recent turnaround too. A lot of people were super questionable about their pitching going into the year, but seems like everybody on that staff has kind of found their groove.
Oh yeah, and it's really come at the right time for them.
For sure.
I hope they make a playoff push at least.
Oh yeah. That would be pretty tight.
Yeah, but we got 5 minutes left on the show. We will close it out with some NFL football, and the NFL season is starting on my birthday, September 5th. It's coming up very soon.
What are you turning, 16 or something like that?
22. But yeah. So the season's coming up. We still have some interesting contract stuff going on with star players like CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Ayuk from the Niners.
I don't know if the Cowboys are doing, man.
Yeah.
That's kind of insane. They decided to give Dak a big contract a little while ago. But then with one of the best wide receivers in the league, arguably the best, maybe. I don't know why they're not trying to get this guy. Obviously he wants it to be a bigger contract.
Yeah. But
I don't know why they're not offering him that whole thing.
Yeah, their owner, I saw speak on it recently, and he was just like, we're not worried about it. We're going to get him back. We want him here. And then CD's kind of on the other side, not really showing signs of agreeing to a contract or anything. But in fantasy football, I know everyone's really into that right now. He's projected to be number 2.
He gets the numbers for sure.
Yeah.
If Dak can make the throw.
Yeah.
But, obviously, people don't really like that. There are, back and forth against him. He gets the numbers up, but then he doesn't win the games for him. Really,
I don't love Dak as a QB, but
I mean, I don't really have a strong opinion on him. Yeah.
But CD, like we said last year, he really had a standout year. He had 135 receptions and 1,749 yards.
And they're still not paying him.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
And, who do you think is better, CD or Tyreek Hill right now? Because I got my third pick in the fantasy draft coming up. I might be able to get either one of those guys, and I'm very curious to see who you think.
I'd probably pick Tyreek.
Yeah,
not gonna lie,
that's what I'm leaning towards.
I feel like Tua will probably. I mean, he also like kind of struggles sometimes, but I feel like he might take another step this year, kind of get better. But I would probably take Tyreek. I feel like he gets open more. He's probably the fastest in the league. And then obviously, they also have a lot of targets over there in Miami, so there's not going to. They'll double team him, but like it's going to be kind of tough with how many people they could throw to. And
that's a
hand
good
it off
point. Because I feel like in Dallas, CD might be like the best option. Obviously, Tyreek
is
their
number one option
but
over there.
There's not a lot of other guys they can worry about, so he might be tripled,
Yeah,
But Tyreek definitely is that good pick, and we shouldn't take too much time on it just because he doesn't deserve our time. But Noah Lyles really irritated me the other day, and Tyreek Hill, like you wanted to bring up how Tyreek
the beef is pretty funny.
But Noah Lyles said on a podcast that he doesn't know who Nikola Jokic is, and he was the one that was crying about the NBA having world champions on.
He's a little ignorant. I do respect him as an athlete. He's a world champion and an Olympic champion too. So I got to respect him on that. But if he's talking the mess about a race, just race him.
I think I got Tyreek in that, honestly.
With the 50-yard dash, I feel like Tyreek might explode a little bit more.
Yeah.
It will be really close if it happens.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I want to see that for sure.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I just think that was very disrespectful of Noah Lyles to say something like that. Yeah.
I didn't see the clip, but if he's talking mess about NBA championships, then like,
and he doesn't realize that the best players in the world come to play in the NBA, and that's why he's mad that it's like, well, they're not playing against the world, but like, yes, they are. They're playing against the best players from all over the world.
All over the world, that come to play.
And I don't know what he doesn't understand, but yeah, he was on Shannon Sharp's pod the other day, and that really blew up. But back to football, Brandon Ayuk also is in a similar situation as CeeDee Lamb. I know a lot of Niners fans. He's got to accept the contract. Yeah.
I feel like he's not as good as he believes he is.
Wow, I think he's really good.
I do think he's really good, but I feel like the only reason why, not the only reason why, like he is a good player and he gets open. But again, SF also is one of those teams that has a lot of options to go to. Mm-hmm. So, he was left open like a lot of times. He
benefits from that for sure.
Yeah. So I feel like if he went to another team, obviously he still will get a lot of targets. He gets open, but I feel like his numbers will definitely drop next year if he leaves to a different team.
Yeah.
And, he's demanding all this money, and like it's just like at some point you gotta sign a contract or stick around. Like I don't know.
I know it'll be curious to see what the Niners do with that.
There's been talks like with the Steelers about.
I did see that,
and then also the Browns are in the conversation.
Yeah,
but he's just like he doesn't like the contract that they're offering, and at some point you gotta do it if you don't like the team you're in.
Gotta get your money somehow.
Yeah.
But this is going to close out our week of Beam City Sports. Thank you all for listening. And if you're listening on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Getting a lot of views, but we're not getting subscribes.
Share.
Yeah.
Help
do it
us
all.
Out.
And keep listening every Wednesday from 1 to 2 on 96.5 FM. This is Beam City Sports on
Put some
KU.
Comments put some comments down. Any suggestions for anything you want to hear, anything you want us to talk about?
Yeah.
We'll keep our ears open.
Yep. And we'll try and get a text thing going next week. I'll get that going so you guys can text in any questions or topics you want to bring up. But thank you again for listening. This is your host, Tyler Texera, with Luke Mitchell.
Co-host Luke Mitchell.
And
thank you, Sacramento. Yep.